I just want us to, but first and foremost, how many Tanzanians are in the room? By show of hands. I just want to be sure I'm talking to the right people first. I'm not being discriminating, but I have a purpose for this question. But can I ask you to stand up? I'm sorry. Can I just ask Tanzanians to stand up? I want to be sure I'm talking to the right people. Okay, that's a good number enough. Please sit down. So can I just ask then, how many of you, and God is watching, have read Tanzania Vision 2025? Just they have an idea of what it is about. TDV 2025 that comes to the end in the next 2 years. Again, stand up. Be honest. All right? So it's very important, and please sit down, when we really talk about our development agenda and really wanting to become the country we want, to take stock of where we're coming from. I don't know how many of you were here the year 2000. Maybe some of you were born already, like me, and you're already aware of what is around you, right? And perhaps you felt the reality then. The people who wrote Vision 2025 had some inspirations and clearly wanting or viewing Tanzania to be someplace, somewhere. I remember pretty well, I come from the Lake Shores, the shores of Lake Victoria. Back in the days, going back home, we used to go back through Kenya. So you get into a car, a bus, Nairobi, Tarime, Sirari, and then you're back into Musoma, and the same thing. And I'm sure for people from Bukoba, they will go around again through Uganda to that country. Today, you get into a car in Lindi, at the southern part of Tanzania, at 6 a.m. in the morning, and you'll be sure to be in Mwanza by dinner time, if you're driving a good car. So, and that's, back in the days, this used to be a 3 to 4, 5-day trip, where people will pack chapati, mandazi, kuku, just so much they know. Before they get to Mwanza, they'll spend some 2 days at a place called Sekenke, you know, and that's when the kukus and the chapatis will be dealt with. It was massive. These are things of the past now, and that is what we call development. The aspiration of President Ben Mkapa, may his soul rest in peace. One of the things that he wanted to see was a learning community that has initiative. It speaks to the people in the room. And this is the point I'm talking about, the initiative. It is the innovation part that you're talking about. A society that is learning, but that is innovating. That is what he envisaged for Tanzania 25 years later. I really want us to really think, if Benjamin Mkapa was in the room today, listening to the conversation, would he look back and say, this is what I wanted to see in Tanzanians? If you ask me, somehow, somewhere, we've made some traction, we've made some progress, because we are thinking, we are innovating, and perhaps we can do better than that. So, do we want to sit back here and rant, to borrow Tambalike's words? Not really. We just need to say, it's a glass half filled. We need to fill the remaining part of the glass. If you're so pessimistic, you'll focus on the empty part of the glass and say, you know what, this glass is not full. And you ignore completely the half portion that is already filled and totally discount the work that has been done to get that glass up to that level. I think the message I want to give you now is a reflection of the conversation today, this morning, and I'm sure over the last few days that you've been here, is to really take forward all the positives that we've achieved as a country, as a people, and capitalize on them, really avoiding the mistakes we've done. And I want to outline some of a few things that we've pointed out as blockages. It starts with the people. I'm sure I'll get everybody hands up. How many of you knows about Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley? If you have not heard about Silicon Valley and you're in the room, then you're lying to us. You're in the wrong place. Okay? So there's a story I want to say about Silicon Valley. That place has got tech community institutions, like many of you, these people have access to capital. Like, we're not struggling, we're struggling for capital here. I hear people talking about startups, money here and there. They are surrounded with capital. Am I lying? They are surrounded with top talent. I hear people using the word talent here. Top talent in the true sense of the word. These are people trained from top schools, top universities, probably hands-on, and they know everything. And they probably have a market, and an American market is the largest market when it comes to technology stuff. So they've got capital, they've got people, and they've got the market. And guess what? Have you ever had, or how many of you have had a company filing for bankruptcy in Silicon Valley? There are companies filing for bankruptcy every single day. There's a company filing for bankruptcy, imefilisika, in Silicon Valley. Now, this is the point I'm trying to make. The difference between a company that files for bankruptcy in Silicon Valley and the one that is successful is the people that are running those. This word talent we're using here, we shouldn't be using it so loosely. I think Tambalike stole my word. When you have shaggy things, vitu vimekaa shaggy, I followed that, right? I spent 21 years in banking, running one of the third largest bank in the country, lending money to businesses. I could read one proposal and say this is a shaggy proposal, and read the other and say this is a proposal, before meeting the person. And then when you meet the person, when they start narrating their business model, and when we say, so what is your business model? I see people changing colors. I receive a lot of young guys coming to the Planning Commission. We've got this idea. This is what we can do for Tanzania. Oh, fantastic. So can you please, let's talk about your business model. Business model means, how is money spent and how is it created end to end? Talk to me that process. If you cannot explain that process, no one is going to write a check, no matter how small that check is. Because I get confidence when I listen to a person who can articulate what they want to do. But if you've had, Tambalike has an app for 1x something here, and then you steal that idea and you copy paste and you have no depth of what they're doing and you think it's yours, and you come to explain looking for venture capital, forget it. So what I'm saying, becoming a talent is about checking several boxes. It's this box of understanding what you want to do and being able to put in front of the person that you're trying to speak to the value. It's about value proposition. I was the MD of NBC, chair of Tanzania Bankers Association, when M&O disruptors, I call them disruptors, come into the banking sector and stole the payment from banking to M&Os. And so I took my colleagues and went to Twin Towers to face the late Ben Ondulu, challenging him to say, so how do you do this? How can you allow these guys? We're building branches, we're selling, we're getting people to bring deposits, and here they come, they just plug and get the deposit. This is not fair. And this is what Professor Ndulu said, and may his soul rest in peace once again. He's my role model, by the way. He said, listen, bankers, find ways of working with M&Os. We are not changing anything. They're here to stay. And he reminded us that there's no regulation, and people are talking about policy this, policy that. M&Os starting doing payments with no payment regulations. I think they got signed 5-7 years later, when there's already massive business and they were indispensable already. Nobody could think of stopping M&Os in the payment sector today. Not as a central bank, but not even as government. Today, government collects taxes thanks to M&Os. We pay taxes through that. It's an indispensable reality. It is here to stay. So when you're able to create value proposition, everybody will come around you and the policies will come. So let's not put the policies ahead of our innovation, because that's a stoppage. You will stop thinking because there's no policy. In fact, it is what you're doing that will design the policies. It should be the other way around. So I'm encouraging people in the room to not use this as a scapegoat. Policies should not be. Policies should follow innovations. If we put it the other way around, we're not going to make it. Vision 2025 is coming to an end. We cannot wait another 25 years to become a middle-income country. By the way, we're debating in the Planning Commission whether our next vision should aim to become a middle-income country. We're not sure whether we should aim for that. We think it's a low goal to aim at, right? And you know why? Because the year 2000, when the Vision 2025 was written, we were not at the pace of technological changes as we're seeing today. So we believe, with good use of technology and these all mumbo jumbles of digital transformation we're talking about here, we should be able to leapfrog our development agenda. And therefore, achieving middle income status should come in pretty soon than later. And then the target really should be changing to become a high income country. And that's because we believe technology will help us. But we also think because we have a massive population. There are people who are looking at the Tanzanian population rate at the moment as a disaster, as a problem, as a crisis. Again, human beings are created in two shapes. They're pessimistic human beings and they're optimistic human beings. We want to challenge the pessimistic view of the population of Tanzania and use it as an opportunity. We've got some work to do though, to convert this number of people that are being born in Tanzania to be productive human beings. And when they're productive human beings, then only we can fast track our growth. But of course, if we're going to have 10 million youth who are not doing anything productive, but doing funny stuff in the streets, of course it's a disaster. But imagine of these 10 million youth who are productive and they can do one thing to add value in the economy, for sure, this massive population is going to be an asset that will pay dividend. And we talk about population dividends every day. So a big number of youth coupled with good use of technology and innovation in a supportive environment should really translate Tanzania to become a significant economy, a significant player on the continent. And perhaps, you talked about kings in the book. Maybe we'll be qualifying into a kings pretty soon as we make use of our potentials that we hear. So I just have to leave this place now. I just want to say, as long as we are able to show value to policymakers, and I'm truly happy that Baraka is here because he is currently running with a docket that will really bring all this together. We're very open-minded. I want to remind you once again, let us decide what do we want to see in Tanzania in the next 2 decades or so through the process that we're currently running of writing our Vision 2025. There's a full chapter, 2050, there's a full chapter, and it's not just a paper, it's not just a document. And I really hate, using documents and thinking they will take us forward. This vision that we're talking about should just do a guiding tool that will guide us into the next level of our development. So there's a full chapter in that blueprint that talks about digital transformation and how we can harness that to fast track our growth. And the people in the room should shape that chapter. I want to stop here, and again, thank you for having me.